It started subtly, a whisper at the edge of sleep, a fleeting image, quickly forgotten upon waking, but it returned every night, growing more vivid, more terrifying.
For weeks now I've been trapped in this cycle, dreading the fall into darkness. Each time it's the same town, the same fear.
The dream always began with a feeling of wrongness. Then came the whispers like wind chimes in a storm, their tune a discordant melody that sent shivers down my spine. Freaky Hill loomed in the distance, a cluster of twisted structures silhouetted against a bruised twilight sky. The town was always shrouded in an unnatural twilight. The sky, a canvas of bruised purples and sickly greens, pulsed with an inner light that was both mesmerizing and repulsive.
As I drew closer, the details of the town would sharpen, revealing its grotesque nature. The buildings were an eclectic mix of architectural styles, each one more unsettling than the last.
Victorian mansions with wraparound porches sagged like weary giants, their paint peeling like scabs. Gothic churches with towering spires seemed to claw at the sky, their stained glass windows dark and vacant eyes.
And the silence. It was the kind of silence that pressed down on you, suffocating you. No birdsong, no insects chirping, just the whisper of the wind, carrying with it the faint scent of decay and something else. Something metallic and ancient.
With each passing night, the fear intensified. I'd find myself running through the deserted streets, my heart pounding against my ribs like a frantic bird.
The whispers followed me, growing louder, more insistent. Fear, raw and primal, became my only companion. The buildings seemed to lean in as I passed, their shadows stretching out like grasping claws.
Faces, twisted and grotesque, would appear in the windows of the buildings, their eyes following my every move.
And then there was the house. It stood at the highest point of Freaky Hill, a looming Victorian mansion that seemed to absorb the oppressive atmosphere of the town and amplify it. Drawn by an unseen force, I found myself on the steps leading to the front door. The wood was rotten, crumbling under my touch. The air grew heavy, thick with the smell of damp earth and decaying flowers. Each step I took towards the house filled me with a sense of dread so profound it was almost paralyzing. The door creaked open as if inviting me in. Inside, the house was shrouded in shadow, the only light filtering in through grimy windows. Dust motes danced in the air, illuminated by the faint, sickly glow. The air was heavy, thick with the smell of decay and something else. A cloying sweetness that made my stomach churn.
And then I saw him. A figure shrouded in darkness, standing at the end of the hallway, his presence radiating an aura of menace that sent shivers down my spine.
Night after night I was drawn back to that house, each time getting closer to the figure. Each time the terror intensified, wrapping around me like a shroud. The line between dream and reality blurred. I began to fear sleep, knowing it would only bring me back to Freaky Hill. Back to the house, back to him. The whispers were constant now, a dull roar in the back of my mind even when I was awake. I started seeing shadows move in the corner of my eye, hearing whispers in the rustling leaves. My world, once safe and familiar, was now tainted by the nightmare.
I tried everything to break free, but it was no use. Freaky Hill, with its oppressive atmosphere and its terrifying inhabitant, had a hold on me.
The fear followed me everywhere. It seeped into my waking hours, coloring my every thought, every action. The laughter of children sounded like the whispers in my dream. The shadows cast by trees seemed to writhe and contort, taking on monstrous shapes. The smell of rain, once fresh and clean, now carried the metallic tang of decay. I was losing myself, my grip on reality slipping with every passing hour. My reflection in the mirror was that of a stranger. Eyes haunted, skin pale and clammy. I was a prisoner in my own mind, and the bars were made of fear. Exhaustion finally claimed me. I collapsed onto my bed, surrendering to the inevitable. As I drifted off, I could hear the whispers, beckoning me back to Freaky Hill. I knew then that resistance was futile. This town, this nightmare, was my reality now. And the figure in the house, he was waiting. He was always waiting. A part of me, a small, terrified part, wondered what he wanted.
But the rest of me, the part consumed by fear, already knew the answer. There was no escaping Freaky Hill. It was my prison, my tormentor, my inevitable end. And the figure in the house, he wasn't there to hurt me. He was there to welcome me home.